Is your business ready for a digital future? Today, you're going to understand what you need to do to get your business ready for the digital future that's coming for all of us. First thing we're going to do is define the future. Second, we're going to understand the infrastructure of the digital future and the elements that you need to understand to get your business in alignment. And then lastly, we're going to identify 3 things that you need to know to get your business ready to adapt. Let's get started. Let's define digital future. Pretty simple. All it means is that businesses will have to operate in the digital space in the future. Go back several decades, maybe our grandparents' generation, everything was brick and mortar. If you wanted to do something, you were going into a business. Or if you were fancy, you would mail off something in a catalog, you'd mail off a check, or you'd send something in the actual snail mail. Well, businesses of the future can't just be physical anymore. They have to operate in the digital space. Don't believe me? Look at your local mall. So now let's look at some aspects of the future that you should be aware of. So in terms of characteristics, one of the first ones you should know about is hyperconnectivity, meaning that everything is connected together and everything impacts each other as well. Second, artificial intelligence integration. We're already seeing that in many areas of business. If you've been to get any medical tests recently, there's a good chance there's some AI involved in reading of your results. It's starting to come into every place. And when I say AI, I'm not just talking about generative AI like ChatGPT. I'm talking about the AI that has permeated our governments, our medical establishments, all of our technology. Right now, when you go home and you talk to your smart speakers, it is everywhere. Next, data-driven decision making. In the past, people would make decisions, or organizations would make decisions really based on the whims of their bosses or of the CEOs. And people would just kind of have these gut feelings, and we would congratulate people on always knowing what's coming based on their gut feelings. But if you're like me and you've worked for other organizations, you probably know that that doesn't always work. Well, data-driven decisions means that we're looking at information to make smarter business decisions. Sometimes the things that we think are true, or sometimes the way that we expect a market or individuals to react, just is not in alignment with what is reality. And so we want to make data-driven decisions so that we're having less waste and we're saving money along the way. Not only that, we're actually providing better customer service because we're providing the things that people actually need. To give you one more example of data-driven decision making, my organization recently conducted a study for a group of high-achieving financial advisors. And many of them were servicing people that made over $250,000 a year. And what was fascinating is while they brought me in originally to just do a keynote, we had to do a study because a lot of their people were planning on adapting to new technologies or bringing in new offerings based on buzz that they heard about, and they thought they needed to get ahead of it. Once we actually did the data and actually did a study and started having conversations with hundreds of their potential clients in the age bracket they were looking at, making over $250,000 a year, what we found was most of the things they were trying to add to their practices were not actually what their customers wanted. Data-driven decision making. And then lastly, the pervasive use of advanced technologies across all areas of business. So oftentimes when we think about using technologies across business, manufacturing tends to be one of the first types of organizations we think of because there's so much automation that happens along the way. But it happens in many other places as well. So imagine businesses where from beginning to end, there's technology that's helping us be more efficient, effective, and connected. So let's tie this all together. When you think of the Great Generation, these are the folks that were born during the Great Depression who then went on to fight in World War II. These are some tough people. Once they came out of that, they started building this incredible infrastructure around the United States. That's how we got our advanced highway system, some of the monuments that we have, the types of buildings that we have. They just went about building an incredible country. All of this infrastructure that connects us and has allowed us to grow over the years. Well, imagine a digital infrastructure. That's what we're in the process of building right now. We are the great generation of now that's building the digital infrastructure. We're going to talk about what you need to prepare. But first, if you're having a hard time imagining your business or your organization in this new digital future, I suggest you check out my video, Why is Adapting to Change Important in Business? So let's talk about the 3 things that you need to start doing to get your business ready for the digital future. Number 1, you want to undergo a digital transformation. I know that's a buzzword, you've probably heard it, but let's talk about what that really actually means to you. It's simply adopting new technologies, streamlining your processes, and figuring out how to make your business run better using existing technology. So the goal here is not for you to go out and find all the coolest technology and just start to integrate it, but look at issues that you have within your business. Think about an Uber. Uber took the issue of transportation that was usually relegated to taxis and saw some of the problems in their process. They said, oh, we want people to be able to immediately order transportation from their phones. They shouldn't have to call. They shouldn't have to stick out their thumb on the side of the road. They shouldn't have to worry about if they can get transportation in their neighborhood. And so Uber utilized technology to solve a problem. So if you look within your business, if there's things that are inefficient, if there's things that your customers you're saying could be done better, look for technologies that help streamline those processes and make it easier for people to patronize you. You want to make sure that any technology that you're bringing in actually enhances the customer experience. You know, once upon a time, technology was adopted really to make companies more money. When was the last time you had to contact maybe your telecommunications company? I'm sure that was a really fun situation for you, wading through all the people and all the prompts, and you're actually trying to get to a human, you're hearing all these voices. All of that technology was not created to make your experience better. I think you know that. It was created to make the business more profitable and to make them more efficient. But because we're seeing this shift now, where it's really about the customer, and customers have more opportunities to go with competitors, it's very easy for our business models to be interrupted now. So any technologies that we incorporate, we want to make sure that they're serving the customer and enhancing customer experience. Number 2, data management and analytics. When it comes to your organization, there's a lot of data that you may not have been keeping great track of. So maybe it has to do with your CRM, your customer relationship management system. Maybe all the customers aren't in there, or all the referral partners. Maybe you're not keeping great records on the amount of time it takes customers to go from buying this service to this service. I think a really good business model for this, organizations that do great with data management, is actually the gaming industry. Casinos are masters at this. They got it down to a science so they understand how much time people spend at certain machines, how to incentivize them to do different things, but the amount of data that they collect on their players is immense. Once upon a time, you used to go into the casino, you'd come with cash, you might get some change if you want to play on the slot machines or whatever, and you were free to go. Now everything's on a card, so they know everything that's happening, when it's happening in real time. And so when you start thinking about your organization, what data are you able to collect to make your products or services better? What data should you be collecting so that you can offer your customers a more customized experience? Data and analytics. It's super, super important. The other thing is that right now, for the organizations that do keep this information, much of it is siloed. So it's in different places where some of this information, if it was all put together, it would give you a more complete picture of the customer cycle or of the production cycle. So figuring out how to get all this data together and make use of it so that you can have smart decision making based on data analytics is one of your biggest goals to be prepared for this digital future. And then number 3, I'm going to be honest with you, this is the hardest one. It's upskilling your workforce. You're going to have some people who have been incredible within your organization that refuse to move with the change. And there's actually some brain science reasons behind this, right? And so it's not really your job to try to convince people to be early adapters, but you do want to work with the people that are willing to change. Some of the folks, you're going to lose them, and that's okay. But the ones that are there, how do you upskill them? In another video, I gave the example of a horse and buggy dealership that transferred into a car dealership, right? And so you think about, what did you have to do to take a saddle maker and then turn them into someone who could actually do car interiors? So think about your workforce now. What raw skills do they have? And some of them might be doing completely different job functions later, but you see that they have the potential. It's all about the training. Amazon has been really good at that over the years in training their people. Sometimes when they planned on cutting jobs, they trained them to be able to do work outside of their workforce just so that they were giving them something and not leaving them high and dry. So upskilling your workforce is probably the most important factor of preparing for the digital future, because you still have to have your people as a part of your organization to move it along. So we've talked about what you need to do to be prepared for the digital future. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you care about the future and you want to stay relevant. Well, I have a gift for you. Right now, if you go under the description, you'll see there's a link to download my Future Ready Playbook. It's filled with all kinds of activities that will help you start to think about and plan around your specific goals for the future, whether we're talking about your individual goals, your entrepreneurial goals, or your organizational goals. Go ahead and get it right now.